It's nihilism in their lives when they're still going about every detail and aspect of their life and make you feel like I am living life and I love life, but they, at the same time, like you see that, what is nihilism in this case?
There's two forms of it, I suppose, and one is really the act of giving up at the level of action, right? And just not engaging in life at all. That's a real deep nihilism. The more shallow nihilism is to continue to engage in life, but to put forward an explicit philosophy that is predicated on the idea that life is ultimately meaningless and futile. Now, that's, I would say, less profoundly disquieting, because what someone believes is really manifest in how they act. What they say, especially about themselves, in some sense is secondary. It's not like what they say is unimportant, it's not that. But their deeper convictions are manifest at the level of action. And lots of people who say they're nihilistic are just confused about the nature of reality from an ethical perspective. They act ethically, but they can't figure out a rationale for it. And so they adopt a philosophical nihilism, but keep acting as moral agents. The really deep nihilists become hopeless. And some of that is because they fall into a logic trap. You know, it's something like, well, in a million years, who the hell's going to know the difference? So why should I do anything at all? It's something like that. And it's also attractive to some degree, because the advantage to nihilism is that there's no responsibility associated with it.
So it's a way to run away from responsibility?
Yes, I think people often portray nihilism as an inevitable hopelessness, but they fail to take into account its attractiveness. And the attractiveness is, oh, well, if my life is meaningless, then I don't have to do anything. Now, it turns out that that's a real catastrophe, but you can also understand it as it has its attractions.
Can people fall into this trap without knowing that this is what, like, they feel that their life is meaningless and they act, I don't care about anything in the world. So how would you prompt their attention to know that they're coming from a place where their own life does not matter for them?
Well, the first thing is that it's rarely the case that someone doesn't care. What is the case is that their cynicism has undermined anything positive in their life, but it hasn't undermined the negative. So the first thing you do with someone who's nihilistic is say, what makes you so sure you don't believe in the reality of your own pain? And that's a very good question, because you can talk all you want and you can be as cynical as you can possibly manage, but using that as a weapon against anxiety and pain is it just has no effect at all. Cynical nihilism can destroy happiness, but it can't destroy misery. And you might say, well, I don't believe that life has any meaning. That isn't what you mean. You mean, I don't believe life has any positive meaning. You're not going to get out of the negative meaning. And then the next question is something like, are you sure that you're so satisfied with the fact that your life consists of nothing but negative meaning? Is that really working out well? You say, well, I don't believe in anything. It's like, yes, you do. You believe in your own pain. Everyone believes in their own pain. And what that means is that you'd also have to believe in the antidote to that pain. And maybe you'd be happy to find it.
In your book,